All right, we're live in Athens, in Greece, for RadioDays Europe. I'm Tom Watts here for Radio Express, and we are so lucky to be having our next conversation on the live stream. Andriy, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Tom.
We're going to be talking about the radio landscape in Ukraine and elsewhere, but to start with, do you want to tell us a little bit about what you do? We'll get into the conversation.
I'm a board member for Ukrainian public broadcasting company Suspilne Ukraine, and I'm responsible for marketing research, so a bit of sociology and international relations.
Okay, and welcome to RadioDays Europe.
Thank you.
It's fantastic to have you here. What is the radio landscape like in Ukraine at the moment?
Well, in these challenging circumstances, the first and foremost, radio had proven, and this is now the medical fact, proven fact that the radio is an important part of the security for those people who are looking to get their information as quick as possible, and being in very different circumstances, and often limited with their access to media in very different ways, I would say. Because give you some small example. In many cases, there's a mobile networks, they can do better coverage and do data traffic, and this is where the first impression is that you get everything through social networks faster and easier to do. Then you definitely face the issue of disinformation and it's your huge flows of uncontrolled fake news and stuff that you can hardly make any proper management effectively and fast enough. But the other part of that, and this is what we faced since last year when you got the electricity infrastructure attacked. So the mobile communication networks would go down much faster than the radio transmission will, because the FM system is still taking less energy, covering bigger territories. And for many people, we even used to have AM in the beginning of the war. Unfortunately, the transmitters were physically destroyed by the Russians because they were located east and south of Ukraine. But even the FM system is often the only thing that people can access when they have nothing but radio receiver.
Am I right in thinking that you're still living and based in Kyiv, and you have been throughout? Have you had to move or change your operation at all since the war began?
Me personally, I was born and I live in Kyiv almost all of my life. When the big war, before the big war started, actually, we had several security protocols and plans depending on how aggressive will be this new phase of the war. It was hard to believe, definitely, that we face it. But when the invasion started, we moved with the broadcasting part of the business to Lviv, and we stayed there for like 2 or 3 months. We are very grateful. We had many partners. We had very friends and partners from Poland who said, move to Wrocław, move to Gdańsk, you can broadcast from there, we will allow you to do everything, we'll give you studios, etc. Our decision was we have to stay in the country as long as we can. So basically, the journalists, we have a biggest network of the journalists as a public broadcaster. So with the most important people were the guys who were standing on the front lines next to the military and saw it with their own eyes and did first-hand reporting on every platform, television, radio, social networks, everywhere. And we adapted very fast, like technically moving westwards so that we have more safety outside of Kiev. But the Russian rockets reach any place in Ukraine. So basically the other part of that is decentralization. So now we are capable of broadcasting from several locations in Ukraine and do both national and local coverage, whatever. This was what you would call digital transformations, stressful things to do, but we had to survive. We went through that, and now we have a system of hubs with the split functions, and this paid off definitely in terms of our audiences growing hugely, because people don't like news when the sun is shining like here in Athens. You would better do some music and fun. But definitely now we have phenomenally high consumption of news. and we have like our Finnish colleagues from Yle say North Korean levels of trust. Now we have like more than 80% people who trust our news, which would be, we would be a bit scared to have these figures in normal times because Ukraine is very competitive, you know.
What was it before? So you say 80%.
Oh, we
now?
would aim at 60 as a paradise, and 45 would be okay. You know. Now we got 80 something. Like we measure it quarterly. In 2 years, we had once we've been under 8, slightly under 80, and it was like, do we do something wrong? But then it was back.
But this is the longevity and the trust that people have in radio, right? Like we saw it, across the world for the pandemic. People turned to the radio for that comfort, for that information, for the entertainment, for that respite. And I guess it's sort of similar thing. Like people need that information, they need that connection with other people when we're going through the worst things in our lives, right?
Yes, and when they hear their local journalists, definitely it was very important to have people on the ground who will speak to them, and it boosts both listening and trust when people understand that what they see from the window is absolutely the things that they hear from the guys who speak on radio and who give them some advice about how to survive, what to do, how to act in different circumstances now.
How are you and your team? How are you mentally with everything that's going on? It's an incredibly difficult job that you're doing, but you're doing it bravely and brilliantly. But how are you? Thank
you. I'm very humbled to have all this meetings here in Athens and people saying about how brave we are. Well, we try to do our job properly. We try to do it every day. Definitely it's the reporters who are the most stressed people, and they really, we try to have some psychologists to give them opportunities to make some retreats, and still this concerns not only the person on the job, this is families, this is their loved ones living close to the front lines as well, together with them, and we try to help them carry on, no matter in Kiev, Sumy, Kharkiv or Lviv. I can't say it's not exhaustive, but we must carry on. We must carry on.
Yeah. What are your hopes for the future in terms of what you guys are doing? Obviously, a peaceful end to the invasion. Talk to me about what you're looking at in the future of what you're doing at the radio station.
Well, we're speaking about, definitely we all wait to live a normal life, This is nothing to discuss. Yeah, definitely we want to live normal life. Definitely we want the aggressor out of our country. We all know that this is the longer war. It started in 2014 with them seizing Crimea and the eastern parts of Donetsk and Luhansk regions. I have a lot of friends from Donetsk who fled to Kiev. So every time I hear this about the referendums and blah, 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 I can give many personal answers to that en masse. But it's not easy to ask about how the situation will develop with the latest news from the United States. But we are really to have our European partners with us firmly. We really rely a lot of the allies, and we definitely hope that the USA will remain our key ally too. But anyway, with the help of such a huge coalition and such huge support, I wonder how we can think about not prevailing on the gas station with the nukes, as John McCain said once.
And how's your time been at Radio Days Europe? How's your time at the conference been?
Well, it's my second time here.
Okay.
I joined the public broadcaster 3 weeks before war started. So it's always my wartime experiences with Radio Days, but it's fantastic. I love it. There's a very interesting, and we had many meetings which are very important for us, both technologically, because we need to move on quickly to keep up with the technologies that make us faster, cheaper, smoother, and working better, and fantastic presentations from the colleagues, lots of things to pick up and remember when we get home, thanks to everyone involved into organization.
Andriy, thank you so much for joining us. What a fascinating insight.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. And stay with us for more incredible conversations just like this one on the live stream.